And I guess it would be no surprise if Arsenal go up there and play as they have done the whole season and just try to be tight. Are you expecting a tight, nervy one, or do you think we might get goals? Might it be more open than
I don't think
any
it'll be open. No, I don't think it'll be open in the slightest. I think Arsenal will say, look, we need to keep things tight and quiet for 10, 15 minutes. City are going to come out of the blocks, I would think, very, very quickly and try and get on the front foot, dominate possession, dominate territory. You've got to kill that and try and kill the crowd, first and foremost. And then you have to wait and see. City will dominate possession. I think we expect that to happen. Does that work for Arsenal on the counter-attack, perhaps? You know, if City are all pushing forward, they've got pace in the side if they want it. Mikel Arteta might do that. I think it'll be a cagey affair. City are going to have to, if it's 0-0 at half-time, 60 minutes, or one each, whatever it might be, there's going to be a point where City are going to have to throw caution to the wind. And the last 20 minutes, we might get a bit of basketball, end-to-end stuff. But I think it'll be a very, very tight game.
Is it not, in some ways, a bit of a risk to go to the City and just to sit back and shut up shop? Because eventually they're going to get to you, aren't they? Don't you need to throw some punches to get them
but you will do that on the counter-attack. And I think, you know, in the transition, when they give it away, Arsenal will be working on this all week. And whether that's not necessarily on the grass, because obviously they have a Champions League, they'll be working on the iPads, on the screens, on the videos, whatever, saying, look, this is how we're going to play. When this happens, can we break quickly? Can we get forward? Do they need to be a little bit more direct, play in Manchester City's half, not take unnecessary risks at the back? This is now about winning the football match, or not losing the football match. It does not matter how you do that. And we've seen, and I've seen in years gone by, the best of that was Mourinho. How to kill a game, how to not get beat, or how to get a result from a game. Sometimes doing something a bit different. Let's see what Mikel Arteta comes up with.
6 Man City players, and
I couldn't have five. I couldn't have five of each.
yeah.
I couldn't have an equal split.
That's true.
But literally, I just went through it and I just went, who would I pick if I had the old? I think Gay's a fantastic centre half. Obviously, Gabriel alongside him. You've got to have Rodri in there. Declan Rice as well. Declan Rice is probably going to play a little bit further forward.
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva gives you that guile. Him and Rice can interchange. Semenyo, I think, has been brilliant for City. Haaland, there's no one in that Arsenal side that replicates that. Left wing was a bit of a problem for me. There's been no... Doku's shown form.
Out on either side.
Yeah, in recent times. That could have got... The left side player is your 5.5. So you have 5.5 players each, if you like. Maybe he comes off at half time and put an Arsenal player on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only one that I sort of was in really debate in my head.
OK. Right, we'll get Danny's views very shortly. But first, let's head to North London and Manchester ahead of the title race Super Sunday Showdown. Manchester City can reduce the gap to leaders Arsenal to just 3 points if they beat them. We're going to start at the Emirates, where James Green is for us. And Arsenal 6 points clear, James, heading into the game. And they've reached the semi-finals of the Champions League. How are they feeling going into this one?
It sounds good when you say 6 points clear and semi-final of the Champions League for Arsenal fans. That is for sure. Perhaps the mood doesn't quite feel like that's what's happening, just because the last 5 games in all competitions, Arsenal have lost 3 times and scored just 3 goals. Compare that to the games before, and certainly in the Premier League specifically, they won 4 games previous to the defeat to Bournemouth. Actually picked up more points than Manchester City in the last 5 in the Premier League. But performances on the pitch have definitely drifted off a bit. They are coping with a few injuries that were picked up pre-international break and post-international break. So I haven't seen Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard's out, Calafiori's out, Jurriën Timber, another one out, Mikel Merino, a long-term absentee in there as well. But I think there were signs last night, making sure they got through to the semi-finals crucial, but there were signs that perhaps the confidence was slowly coming back. And I can say that in terms of Martin Zubimendi's performance. He'd been under a little bit of scrutiny of late. A few people quite critical of his performances, perhaps not progressing the ball forward as much as maybe he should do, moving the ball quicker. But the intensity he played at yesterday was sensational. He had a really good first half in particular. he was made man of the match. And I think what was key with that, and to sum up this group and where Arsenal are at right now, all the players were there shaking his hand, happy for him, smiling. Even Noni Madueke, who went off injured with a knee problem, he was still limping and hobbling, but he was smiling at the same time. Perhaps a sign that injury isn't too severe, but they were happy for Martin Zubimendi. And again, they need those players to step up in the key moments. But a player that has taken that responsibility more than most is Declan Rice. So Mikel Arteta made a little bit of a change. He said the players have decided that Declan Rice is our captain at the moment. He's been captain for the last 2 games, and perhaps we're going to continue to see that between now and the end of the season. He leads by example on the pitch, and last night he was leading by example with his words in the build-up to this one.
It's beautiful. Can't wait. It's why we play the game. You know, when you're a kid watching games, and when you're watching the Premier League as a kid, you see these big matches, these title-defining moments, and comes down to if you're going to be ready and how much do you want it. You know, they obviously have been in really good form recently. No one's going to hand you anything in this league. Like you said, there's been a lot of noise, but ultimately it's down to us as players. That's why we're professionals. That's why we do this game. And yeah, to go there and win will be a massive statement. And look, these boys are ready. We've spoke as a group. We know what's required. So yeah, bring it on.
I think as well with the Carabao Cup final, just how much did that hurt, and how much has that been motivation for this last push?
Yeah, it hurts losing every final. We had to show them respect. You know, we shared the pitch for 90 minutes, and ultimately on the day they were the better team. It would have been wrong for us to walk inside and not show that respect. To see them lift that, it did hurt. There is that fire in the stomach to eradicate that on the weekend. And yeah, with 6 games to go in the Premier League, we know how big it is. So yeah, let's bring it on.
For Arsenal, though, James, today is not really about that Super Sunday showdown, is it? Because there's been some very sad news about a former player.
Yeah, really sad news, Matt. Not what I expected to be talking about today. Not that many people will be talking about, and that is the passing of former goalkeeper Alex Manninger at the age of just 48. He was a cult hero here, really, at Arsenal as a backup goalkeeper to David Seaman, the first Austrian to play in the Premier League. And he was crucial in Arsenal winning the first Premier League title under Arsene Wenger. He stepped into slightly big shoes, or big hands and gloves, as you would say, with David Seaman, playing in March as Arsenal were chasing Manchester United in the title race. He kept 6 clean sheets in a row, including at Old Trafford in a famous 1-0 victory where Mark Overmars scored the only goal of the game. He was actually awarded Player of the Month for March. Such was his importance to Arsenal. Kept a clean sheet at Anfield in that time too, and led them to Premier League glory. He was also a part of the FA Cup winning team that same year as well. I remember a strong performance in the quarter-final against West Ham. I think when you think about Alex Manninger, you think about the orange top he used to wear as well. The goalkeeper jersey is always one of the first names that comes to mind. And he was much liked and much loved here at Arsenal, and you know, part of such a successful time for the Gunners at the start of a successful period under Arsene Wenger. He went on, he was at Liverpool for a year, he went on to represent Juventus, won the Serie A title with Juventus too, but he'll be remembered so fondly for his time, certainly in 97, 98. There's been some very nice tributes posted online from previous clubs and fans alike, but such tragic news today, and all our thoughts and prayers are with his friends and family at this difficult time.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Very tragic, very unexpected as well. Thank you very much, James. Let's head to Ben now, who's at the Etihad. And Pep, Ben, really is the master of the run-in, isn't he? How do you expect Manchester City to approach Sunday's game?
Cabinet bears testament to that, doesn't it? Just how effective he can get his teams playing, and how they can perform seemingly under the biggest of pressure. Make no mistake, Sunday's game has huge pressure on it. It's an interesting one to start to dissect before the game, because I think if we going into that Carabao Cup final, all of the attention was on Arsenal in the sense that they were running away with the league. They were still fighting on 4 fronts at that point. That was a group who have been the standout team in England up until that point in the season. I think The first 20 minutes showed that, didn't it? Arsenal were on top in that cup final, but they didn't find a way through. And gradually City played themselves back into it. And by the end, you have to say City were thoroughly deserving of lifting the trophy. So the onus there was on Arsenal to take it to City. I think what's really intriguing about Sunday is it's the opposite way round, isn't it? Because for Arsenal, of course, a draw actually would be a really good result in the context of their season. For Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, this is almost a last chance saloon, a shot they should never have had at winning the title, given how inconsistent a lot of their league season has been. But they have put themselves in a position where they have a shot at it. It all rests on them winning, though. They've got to go into this game and win. We understand it's going to be a sellout, obviously. You can expect the crowd to be really up for it. That is going to put a lot of pressure on the game. I think Pep Guardiola will believe that his players have shown him in recent weeks that in those high-pressure matches, they can deliver.
And might Manchester City have another reason, not that they need one, to have a really strong run in here, and that is to give a good send-off to someone who's been a brilliant servant for them over the years?
Absolutely. The news confirmed today, even though we've known it for a few weeks, that Bernardo Silva was going to leave Manchester City at the end of the season. A player who has been absolutely integral to everything Pep Guardiola has achieved here in his 10 years. Bernardo joined in the summer of 2017. The following season was Pep's first title. The Centurions, 100 points, records set all across the board in terms of goals and defensive contributions. It was just a remarkable season for Manchester City, one of the great Premier League teams, perhaps setting bars that we will never see matched. And Bernardo has really grown with the club. He's changed from being a winger to being a central midfielder. He's changed from being a squad player to being the voice in the dressing room, the captain, selected by the manager himself. It's really interesting actually hearing from Mikel Arteta and talking about the fact that the players have decided that Declan Rice is going to be their captain. Well, traditionally the players decide the captain here, but Pep Guardiola made that call that Bernardo Silva was going to be his captain. He's told me in the last week or two that it's the best decision he's made all season. Bernardo is definitely a legend of Manchester City. Potentially, he still has the opportunity to add another Premier League title to the 6 he already has. And obviously, his teammates regard him in the highest of esteems, not least Erling Haaland, who joined in 2022 and was part of the treble-winning side of 2023, with Bernardo playing such a key role as well in what was an incredible campaign.
If you would ask me what he's really good at, it's a bit difficult to explain, because the way he controls the game, the smartness, he's probably the smartest player I've ever played with, because of just the way he kind of controls the game and everything. So talk about his City career, the last 9 years, I think, has been crazy. Look at this, I think he has 6 Premier Leagues. Look at his trophies. He won the Champions League. Look at the how important he was for us in the treble season, when he scored against Bayern, when he scored 2 against Madrid. It's difficult to find words, because he's been such an important figure for this club for the last 9 years, and also been shaping kind of the club with the way he's been on the pitch and off the pitch.
The numbers do speak for themselves, don't they? 6 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 5 League Cups now with that victory over Arsenal at Wembley this season. Throw in a Champions League, a Club World Cup, a UEFA Super Cup as well. Bernardo Silva really has led from the front, and his legacy, I think, here at City is confirmed, it's assured. Maybe one day he'll get a statue, but I think it's probably fitting that we can now enjoy some of his very best goals.